So one of my favorite people in the world, PewDiePie. A few months back, we kind of saw a little preview of this. He installed Linux Mint on a laptop, and that alone was super cool and just positive overall. But this right here, holy camole, he dropped an entire 23-minute video. Let me fix myself here. I usually don't do reaction videos like this, but my golly. I was at the beach when this dropped, so I wish I could have gotten to it sooner, but I watched the first little bit here just now, and it seems like it's going to be a good one.
I am not a tech guy. You saw my PC building video.
Looks all bent.
I'm surprised the whole thing hasn't exploded. It's like,
If you, I deleted it because it was so bad, but I uploaded a live stream, me trying to build like a server cabinet computer, and I didn't finish it by the end of the live stream.
sitting next to a bomb every day. But what you did see was 0.5 seconds of the video where I installed Linux on the thing, and a lot of people just went, what? Some people seem surprised.
I'm a software nerd, not a hardware nerd.
Linux on it.
Some people were excited. At the time, I didn't know the power that I had. I was like a baby with a rocket launcher. For years, I have been tortured by...
Yeah, it's real easy to accidentally point that rocket downwards, if you know what I mean.
But now, alas, I am finally free. I escaped the Windows cave. I saw the sun. The shadows are gone. It blinded me for a moment. And now I'm speaking to you in the cave. Enough reference. Okay, so I'm gonna yap about Linux for as long as...
See, and that right there, that's my personal problem, why I can't why I'm recording this on macOS right now, is I believe that's Premiere Pro. I can't run like really good editing software on my Linux machines. That's why I have to have a Mac or Windows machine laying around, because I am not in the financial situation which I can afford editors.
Windows talks to me like I'm a baby. Now, mentally, I might be, but that does not warrant...
Yep.
You want Candy Crush? You want Candy Crush on your computer? You want to use Bing? Yes. Are you sure you want to delete that file? Are you super duper sure you want to delete that file? Linux, on the other hand, literally puts a gun in your hand and says... My first sort of aha moment when I...
Yeah, you could literally do whatever you want, from deleting the bootloader. Switching it out is probably a better idea than just deleting it, but it's truly remarkable on what it will just let you do. And that's why a lot of people have problems, because they go to some website and try to do customization or something. They copy a script or a code, and it's not like perfectly aligned with their system, and things get screwed up.
Installed Linux or started using it was, wait a minute, it does exactly what I wanted to do. And this is a really powerful feeling about it. I do want to show you guys my setup as well. I will get into that. But first, reason number 2. As an epic minimalist, the bloat. The bloat is real. It always bothered me. Anytime I install a new Windows, I spent like an hour trying to uninstall all the pre-packaged...
Yeah, the first thing I ever do when I install Windows is I immediately uninstall OneDrive, because it's so annoying, because I had a OneDrive account and I'm too lazy to go in there and clear it out. So if I don't jump in and remove it real quick, it'll just put a bunch of random crap that used to be on my desktop before. Super annoying, so I get rid of that. Now I install the Windows LTS kind of version, because that doesn't come with anything, and I love that. But still, Linux is way more
Windows is like, I know
lightweight.
you paid $100 or whatever for me, but I'm still gonna put ads in here. Yes.
Yep.
Put a little AI in here. You want that, right? That doesn't benefit me. It's for...
The worst is those the icons on the taskbar that are just, they're not even installed, that you just click on it and, oh, you want, like you said, Candy Crush? No, I don't.
For you, the consumer, Bing. It doesn't benefit me that you use Bing, but please use Reason number 3, customization. I discovered this afterwards.
That's usually people's number one reason. When I first got it, that was, I've said this a couple times in videos, but I saw a video that somebody did. It was like a Minecraft tutorial or something, and when they moved the windows around, it had a little jiggle to it, and I was like, I want that. I want to be able to do that. And that's what started in like 6th grade, my little journey.
On Windows, you can maybe change your wallpaper, change a little bit of colors, whoop-de-doo. On Linux, you can change reality itself. Since Linux is built modular, you can swap out your GUI entirely.
Yeah.
You don't even have to use one. You can cut off the head of Linux and it'll still be like, hey, I'm here. What's up?
Just like a
Customizing
chicken.
on Linux is called Rising, and I got way too into it.
I've never got super far into racing. It's
hard. I can't wait to show you guys. Now, reason number 4, gaming.
He's gonna show us the
Gaming on Linux is
racing.
finally real. I actually installed Linux 15 years ago. That's right, I'm old. And I uninstalled it
Same.
after like a couple days, as a lot of people do, when they realize, oh, I can't use the things I need.
Also
Linux.
same
And
initially.
for me, that was gaming back then, because it's like, well, then what's the point? But now, gaming on Linux is real. I flash. So Valve came in like Gandalf's in Helm's Deep, riding a Steam
absolute
Deck
goat.
with Proton. So I think this is a perfect example how Linux benefits everyone. The fact that Valve as a company recognized maybe Microsoft has a bit too much power. If they wanted to and started being shady, locking things down, taking cuts, they absolutely could. And it's not like it would be uncharacteristics for them to do.
Valve still takes their cuts, but god damn, it's an absolute goated company. Trusty Steam Deck, this is the device that really, truly got me kind of into gaming, and 100% Linux. And this thing, it's so open. I could put Windows on it. It's so open if I wanted to. With kind of Linux prioritized companies like this, you have the power to do the opposite of what they want you to do and lock it down further.
So Valve started improving gaming on Linux, boosted driver support, and they built on what was already there from open source software like Wine. By doing this, Valve benefits, down, taking cuts, they absolutely could, and it's not like it would be uncharacteristics for them to do. So Valve started improving gaming on Linux, boosted driver support, and they built on what was already there from open source software like Wine. By doing this, Valve benefits, consumer benefits, ecosystem grows, win, win, win. It really feels like
And this is obvious, but the fact to figure, I think he has like 110 million subscribers or something like that. This is really what the Linux community needed, is a big name like this, kind of pushing it like this, saying, I've said all of these points in past videos, but 20-30,000 people will watch it, maybe 100 on a good day. This video, how much views does this thing have? My golly gee, 3.6 million. Nice.
Alternate reality. This totally could not have been a thing. And it also makes me realize just how many things can be better if people just weren't so greedy. Can we just fix them? So thank you, Linux, and thank you, Base Gaben.
Good luck on making people less greedy.
I switched to Linux. Let me just explain why maybe not switching is a good idea. Because everything good comes with a sacrifice.
Big facts.
If you're swapping to Linux, you'll likely have to give something up. I don't know what that is. But for me, it was Photoshop. I used Photoshop, again, for 15 years. All the shortcuts, all my work.
I use mostly open source applications for even photo editing. I'm a huge fanboy of GIMP. And the video editing software I use, DaVinci Resolve, technically works on Linux, but it's such a pain in the ass to use because you have to convert files. Just getting it to open and detect your GPU is a pain in the ass, unless if you have like the perfect hardware for it, which I am not buying an NVIDIA GPU anytime soon, so I don't. It's just a hassle.
It's all baked into my brain. The way I use Photoshop, I don't think about it. It's just, here's the thumbnail. It's not beautiful, but I get the job done. Unfortunately, Adobe is a garbage company, and their software just won't run on Linux. A lot of artists are jumping ship. They don't want...
Not only is DaVinci a garbage company because their stuff doesn't run on Linux, but their pricing tactics and like to pay to not pay them anymore is crazy work. Like, you're not breaking a lease on an apartment when you cancel DaVinci Resolve subscription, but they feel like you are. Ugh.
I don't use Adobe anymore because they realize it's a terrible company. Me as well, I thought, you know what? It's time. I'll swap over. I know the open source alternative is GIMP.
Yes.
I've heard about this forever, and you know, it'll feel good. I'll feel good leaving Adobe. So I'm ready. I go to their website. I click through the 1,000 pages. I crawl through the bushes just to find the goddamn unsubscribe button, and I was so ready. I was gonna be like, you do this unsubscribe.
He's gonna say what I just said.
You know what happens? You know what happens? They hit me with an unsubscription fee.
Horrid.
Yes.
Wretched.
Those...
The most anti-consumer shit that is even imaginable.
I have to pay to not use your software.
It hurts, doesn't it?
It was like
And another kind of DaVinci Resolve shout out. It's one of those things that you pay for one time and it's you got the license forever. Just don't lose your goddamn key, and it's yours. And Adobe back when I was in high school, you could get a good old version of CS4 and pay for it once. It was expensive, but it was yours to use how you wanted. No more.
$65 or something. It's insane. What the? If anything, it just made me realize, okay, it's over. I'm never going back.
Yep.
So like I said, the open source alternative is GIMP.
Mm-hmm.
And since this is Linux, open source, you can do whatever you want. I downloaded this icon pack that changed the icons so they look like the Photoshop icons. That helped a little bit. Then I downloaded...
Make yourself a little more comfortable with something new.
That matches the one on Photoshop. Boom, made it a little easier. You know, I'm still not 100% used to it, but the fact that I can do stuff like this really helps. For me, personally, a worthy sacrifice. I hope this doesn't sound like copium.
And I did that with DaVinci Resolve for a while. I had to copy over all the and there's actually an option when you first launch it, but using all like the Adobe keystrokes and all that, it's very helpful when you could do things like that.
At the end of the day, some tools are only gonna work on Windows and only gonna work on Mac, but what you gain on Linux is so much more. Freedom. Join us. I'm just praying that Adobe is not just gonna show up one day and be like, there's another fee. I'll meet them in a dark alleyway. They'll be like, there's a little fee. Now that I've convinced you to swap to Linux, you have the wonderful choice.
I don't know about you, but I'm convinced. First three right here, absolutely goated. Don't know what that is, never use that. Don't use that. Linux Mint goated. Kubuntu, okay. OpenSUSE, don't let the name confuse you. Slight learning curve, I always end up just going with Ubuntu or like some sort of Fedora spin. Personally, EndeavourOS, which is an Arch spin, is also really, really nice.
I hear people going like, I don't know which one to pick. What do I do? There's so many. Just pick one. It's a wonderful thing that you can choose. Don't you understand? The world is your flavor. Look at all these spices.
Yep.
I went with Mint because it's the same one that I installed
Mint,
15
beautiful.
years ago, and I knew that it was beginner friendly and that it still holds up. It very much feels like Windows, just better, okay? You don't even need to touch the scary terminal. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's okay. You should though. Now,
you really should. At first, it takes a while to learn a lot of like the really basic commands, but once you get the basics down, like move, copy, change directory, list, get familiar with Nano, you're gonna have a real good time with Linux.
Oh, look at that! I'm recording with OBS. Open source is always the best source. Couldn't get Bandicam. They didn't have a Bandicam. I can't believe I paid for that. There's like free versions everywhere. That's so much better. Okay. All right. So this is the terminal. You probably heard about it.
Oh, what the hell?
At the beginning. Let me just show.
Yeah, he really customized the shit out of that. He got a Radeon 9070. Ooh.
Show you how it works. But first, wait. Oh, yes, today's sponsor.
It's a sponsor script.
You get the Booty Shaker free and 33% off
all
PewDiePie products if you use the code PewDiePie. This is your final chance. Only get this deal for 7 days, so take the chance now. Don't wait, please.
That's such a good idea for a sponsor segment. I'm gonna steal it. I'm sorry. No shame, I'm stealing that.
And the code PewDiePie, 33% off. Thank you, G-Fuels, for sponsoring this video. Okay, so this is my desktop. I called it Apollo, and then I have my laptop, which I called Dionysus, because I wanted to mess around with it. Dionysus is the one I really went hard on the rising. But I just wanted to show some terminal commands really quick, just so you get an idea how it works. I talked about this in my last video, but the first thing that really blew my mind with Linux, I just noticed my computer was booting kind of slowly. So I found this command called systemdanalyze, and it tells you exactly how long it takes for your computer to actually load.
I'm learning shit. There we go. I love it.
And it used to be like 45 seconds. I was like, dude, this is terrible. So then I found another command called blame, and then you can see exactly
blame.
It's kind of slowing down your system, which got me into like really optimizing it, and I had so much fun doing that. And it just made me realize, just like on Windows, if my computer is kind of slow, you just kind of deal with it. It's like, oh, okay, well, what can you do? On Linux, it's like
Windows, you go through the task manager and see all the processes running and realize that Chrome or whatever is eating up half your system and random Microsoft garbage in the background that you really can't do anything about is your problem. So you're screwed.
The world is your oyster. You can fix it. Personally, I like that kind of stuff. The second thing that blew my mind with the Linux terminal was just how fast it is at searching. Searching on Windows is so annoying. It takes forever. Sometimes it doesn't even find the file, even though you type the name of it.
Gives you shitty
And
web
a lot of times
results.
They just Bing it. They're like, oh, you want to search for your file? Oh, maybe no. Actually, you want to look it online. That's what you want to do. It's like, no.
I'll go online if I want to look online.
Whatever you want. This is searching all JPEGs on my computer. That's a bad example, actually. The other thing that I love about it is that you don't have to just search the file. You can also
grep
search
balls
inside the file. So let's say you forgot what the file is called, but you remember roughly some stuff inside it. You can grep it, and bada bing, bada boom. What the hell is this? Spotify password text. Balls deep. I did not do that. What? Searching files on Linux is super fast. It made me realize just how it should be on a computer again. The most obvious thing with the terminal is that, let's say you install the operating system and you need to also put all the programs that you want to use on it. Usually you have to go on the browser, Google it, look at their page, go to their download page, dodge all the fake ads,
all the fake scam sites,
and install and run each one, wait for it to install, yada yada. It takes forever. On Linux,
sudo apt install.
Sudo apt install. What do we want? We want VLC, Firefox, OBS.
Personally, I love VLC, but MPV is goated. Absolutely goated.
Boom. Thank you. And now I can sit and look at the screen and feel like I'm a hacker. Yes, I know what all of this means. Every single letter I'm soaking in with my brain. There's so much you can do with the terminal.
It's actually pretty simple. It just downloads the little packages and it's just telling you what's going on.
Insanely powerful. I can make a whole video about it, but I don't want to keep this too long-winded. And in reality, I just want to show you my Rise on my laptop, to be honest. That's the whole reason I'm making this video. I had this old laptop. I mean, it's not that old, but I just never used it because I didn't really like using it. I mentioned before there's many distros of Linux, and I wanted to try one called Arch. Partially because of the meme. It's kind of become a meme because it's a little difficult to install Arch. So it's like a flex to use it. For some reason, I went on a God run and I had no issue. I always get stuck on the dumbest ever for like 12 hours. I don't know what happened there.
If you just follow the wiki, it's really not too bad. It's still kind of a pain in the ass if you don't have some sort of like conceptual understanding of what you're doing. Definitely don't be like, oh, I don't know anything about computers. Let's install Arch. Not a good idea. There's other distros. There's scripts that you can use for Arch to help you install it really easily. I wouldn't recommend just diving right into that for sure.
But I also wanted to download Arch because it's a minimalist distro. Whatever you put, or at least 90% of it, is there because you decided to put it there. And it's also very highly customizable, which are two elements that I love, so I knew I was going to love it. All right, let's go into my laptop. I think it makes sense for me to show it without any customization first because
this will be interesting.
And I need to talk to people that haven't used Linux. My first favorite thing, which I have on Mint as well, is just shortcuts on my keyboard to open programs. Open terminal, open file manager, open browser, close it, whatever. It's all there. It's such a nice workflow and have a more keyboard.
Wonder if that's i3 or Sway or what that is.
But even in general, you know, the whole like...
Actually, oh, we could see it.
Way of using your computer, especially on a laptop. But even in general, you know, the...
Hyperland. Wow, PewDiePie, I see you. That's beyond my skill set or interest.
Click on the start menu and just find the thing. If I don't have it keybind, I can open Rofi and just search for it and open it. I don't want to over-explain things as well, but yeah, this is my terminal on the setup. I'm using Alacrity, and this is NeoFetch, which shows my specs. And usually people have an ASCII art. It sounds like I'm saying ASCII. Ashy, I'll call it Ashy, of their distro. And if you saw my Mint one earlier, I was like, oh, it wouldn't be cool if I do like my own custom Ashy. And then I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I do my own animated Ashy? So I figured out how to do that. It took a little bit of tinkering and schminkering, but it's just so nice to look at. I love it. So I'm running Hyperland, which is this beautiful tile manager. It automatically sorts it for me whenever I open something. This is such a nice workflow, and I can close it all as well. You can literally
I
open
love
these-
window managers. If you want something very similar to that, but that's like way easier to configure and use and install, getting a GNOME desktop environment and putting the I believe it's Gtile is really good. Also, if you use KDE Plasma, which is also incredibly popular, there's extensions and things that you could do just to easily add something like that right into it. I'll put some information
Until
down below if you're
infinite.
interested.
When you're on a laptop, when you have limited screen space, it's such a great way to work with it. The fact that they're always there means I never have to look for them because I know they're there. And
if you don't notice, I don't really use them that much because I'm in such a habit of floating windows where I'll like slightly overlay them and switch between them that way. So I get more screen real estate, and the focus window that I'm currently on has most of the real estate instead of like a perfect split. It's just how I do it. It's all a whole complete preference
my
thing.
workspace is full, I can look at this, swap to another one. This is workspace
Ooh.
number 2 and workspace number 4. I've been recording OBS.
And absolutely all major desktop environments within Linux will have some kind of built-in workspace switching thing that usually works really, really good.
Here, let's say I'm working on a project on workspace 1, I can then work on another thing on workspace 2 and go back and forth vice versa instantly. I love this way of using a computer. It's so sick. The first thing I really loved about this Arch Hyperland setup was just how quick and smooth it looks, at least, you know, like boom, oh, open, it's so nice. But then I open my browser and it's like, oh, you see that? Ew. Again. Oh, that took forever.
Firefox
and
moment.
It's so ugly. So my first thought, okay, well, maybe I can upgrade my SSD to make it snappier and quicker. But then I thought,
that won't
I'm
do
on
much.
Linux. I can do whatever I want. So let's run a time here. Firefox. Let's ignore the CSS errors. I tinkered a bit too much. Don't worry about it. What was that? 2 seconds. Not good enough. So I figured out a way, and it's so dumb. I won't explain how I did it, but the fact that I was able to do it, boom, instant, boom, 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 boom. I love it. I love it so much. It's these small things that
I wanted him to explain.
Using Linux. Anyway, the first thing I
Tell me how you
customized
did
was,
it.
Waybar. Oh, I forgot to say I can move around as well if I want to. Anyway, and move them to a different
His whole desktop setup and all that be looking like I'm watching a DistroTube video.
workspace. So yeah, this is my taskbar. It's like the Windows taskbar, except you decide exactly what's on it and customizing it.
Except for it's
I put
way more
calendar,
beautiful.
Turn it on and off. Internet, Bluetooth.
Doesn't look like modern UI slop. It looks like a computer. You know what I mean? A real computer.
Quick access to all these things, you know. I really enjoy this as well. It's basically just tells me if I'm connected to
That's cool.
NordVPN or not, and I can toggle.
Might as well throw in something here. I use Air VPN, and there's a link down below if you're interested. I actually use it. They've never reached out to me or sponsored me in any way. But if you're interested in a good VPN and you want to throw this channel a little kickback,
By clicking on
check
it.
out the Air
And it tells me which country
VPN link
I'm
down
connected
below.
to. Up here it shows which workspace I'm using. Since I have these reactor in the background, I thought it'd be cool to like LARP as if.
I really wish, PewDiePie, you're never going to watch this, especially a reaction to your own video. That'd be silly. But please make a GitHub and post your configurations, and like people would install Linux like crazy if you just had a public repository with all your shit. Please.
Each workspace was each reactor. I'm on reactor A. There's reactor B, C.
Very creative naming
and
schemes.
D,
I'm
where it's
very
recording
impressed with like the
OBS.
Apollo
Then I have my
or
battery
the
bar, which is ASCII.
reactor. It's
Keep
cool.
saying ASCII, which is ASCII art.
ASCII.
I got the volume, and you know, look, if my volume goes too low, it gets red. It's critical. Just to really LARP the whole nuclear reactor UI. To me, it's cool. I like it. All right. The second thing I did was making widgets with ew. Ew was a nightmare.
Ew.
I'm not gonna lie. Here we go. Let me also change the wallpaper really quick. One second. All right. So this is.
Oh,
my
that looks so
desktop.
good.
Let me play some music actually. So first I added this visualizer because I just saw a lot of people doing it. It's using Kava, but I changed it again with ASCII. So it looks a little more matrix and hackery. Here we have my uptime. just how long it's
Reactor
been
uptime.
running
He
and
really
how
dived in
much
on that.
until my battery is out. I should probably charge my laptop. CPU temp.
probably move
I should
myself down.
probably change, cool it down a bit. All of this is it changes. It's not just like visual flare. Well, it is, but CPU load, which changes, RAM usage, storage. This tells me which workspace I'm on. So right now I'm on reactor B. Power consumption, completely useless, but I needed it to look cool. And then we have my 2 fans for CPU and GPU, and then this little spinny fan thing to show it. Upload and download.
That's cool.
latency, and then just another VPN.
VPN
It's
active or not. Sweet, super sweet.
Basic weather. And then finally, to make it sort of all work together, I added a script that basically scans if I'm using a window. So if I open or close, it sort of transitions in and out of wave.
Oh, cool.
I need it on both. That's just like too much information in my opinion. So this is on my desktop. It's just a nice vibe here. We just chill over here. And then when I'm in workflow, it blackens it all out.
Oh,
And,
the transitions are so smooth. He really did a great job building these
in the middle here,
customizations.
I forgot to say, it has power profiles, my laptop. So
Reactor
I thought it'd be cool
sleep.
to change them. It's silenced, balanced, or power mode, but I changed it to Razgon, which means overclock. You see my fans are spinning, and these are faster as well because the fans are spinning more. This is so sick to me because I'm remembering
It really
how
is.
this laptop used to be running Windows. I never wanted to use it. I hated it. Now it went from a hardware that I never used to my favorite piece of hardware because it not just looks great, it runs great. I love it.
And
It's so
that's
sick.
why,
I had
like,
so much fun
where are we at?
customizing.
Where are we at? That's why, like, ThinkPads, for example. ThinkPads, especially old ThinkPads, you can get like an old, like, I have a T450 and an old, I think it's an X260 or something like that. Old machines, you throw Windows on them right now, they're kind of they're gonna run like shit. But if you throw Linux on it, you can do all these super cool customizations and things, and it will run decent. Even though it's from like 2012 or whatever, you'll have a really good computer if you throw Linux on an old ThinkPad. Beyond the meme, they're really great machines.
It was just a blast. Yeah, I hope you guys appreciate it as well. I've been doing so much more. I built this camera as well. Like I mentioned earlier.
Oh, he's going full
Linux,
full
even
tinker.
without a graphical user interface GUI. That made me so excited. 'Cause
I
I'm
mean-
like, wait, that means I can use other computers.
He's going full tinker. I mean, even sitting here in front of me, look at this little 5-inch server cabinet that I built. Truly is a marvel of Linux and all that. Got a little Raspberry Pi here that's going to be rack mounted in. Beyond even the desktop, there's so much potential if you use Linux, get familiar with it, get familiar with the terminal. Limitless possibilities of all the cool, fun experiments and everything that you could do in that regard.
At my disposal. For some reason, to me, that's just like really cool. And I wanted to try what I could do with it. I want to show this in another video maybe because I feel like it's too much yapping. But my point is, I've been having so much fun. Just tinkering, messing around, feeling like a hacker. But I gotta be real as well. Linux is not perfect. There's a lot of issues. A good example is, again, my laptop. When I first installed Arch, none of my F keys worked. Actually, sorry,
Yeah.
3 out of 12 worked out of the box. So I had spent a long time bringing them back to life.
Yeah, when a computer manufacturer, somebody ships out something for Windows, they make sure everything works. So all the buttons are going to work by default on Windows because they put in custom firmware, custom drivers, little custom configurations. And to get a lot of those things to work on Linux, it's just a single ISO file you install on your computer with generic drivers. So it's not always going to see everything. It's not as big of an issue anymore, but Wi-Fi drivers used to be a really big one that would discourage people because they would go to install Ubuntu on their laptop and they couldn't connect to Wi-Fi during the installation process. So like, whatever, it doesn't work. When in reality, it does require some extra tinkering and work to get some of those things to work. So it has its downfalls.
For me, it was kind of fun. I was like, oh, got another one working. Like,
Yep.
okay, let's move on to the next one. But I can imagine for a lot of people that just want things to work, you know, maybe this is not for you. And maybe it should work, you know? I think since Linux is not as popular on desktop as Windows or Mac, this is just the reality. There's just not enough support for it.
Yeah.
On Linux, if something doesn't work, it's kind of up to you to fix it. And yeah, that's just how
And
it is.
people
I was
just-
trying to update my,
People just don't either have time, they don't want to do that. They just want to get in, load up Photoshop and call it a day, maybe play some Call of Duty, and you're going to have some downfalls if that's you and you are thinking about switching to Linux.
Drivers for my GPU, and I got a black screen 6 times, and I had to do a hard restore every time. It's, you know, not the most fun thing in the world. There are other things I could rather be doing, which is why
Yeah, and that's another thing with like newer hardware. I don't have it within reach, but that Minisform kind of big boy mini PC that I have, it's so new that when I got it, I actually had to wait like a month for the updated kernel to drop because I kept getting these weird like display graphical issues and a screen going green and shit like that. But as soon as that kernel updated, I was good to go. But sometimes it takes a little bit for brand new hardware to get proper Linux support, which is inconvenient. But it's usually not a problem for me because I can't afford the best of the best new stuff.
We can get together, the better Linux becomes.
Yes.
And I get it now. Like, that's why people were so excited about me using Linux.
Mm-hmm.
Because Linux is not a product, it's a platform.
Yes.
And it also already exists everywhere. NASA, SpaceX, it runs on Linux.
Yep.
All the supercomputers, TV, your smart
everything.
fridge, your phone, if it's Android, it's all Linux, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just so cool, the fact that this all happened because one Finnish guy in like the 90s
Yep.
just decided, hey, I can write a better kernel. Finnish naivety, typical Finnish behavior. They think they can do anything. But without that, you know, things would have been very different. At least there wouldn't be an alternative. And I just think it's so cool that people saw what it did, got excited, and wanted to join in. So please consider joining in. Now, if you're even just a little bit curious, I recommend trying Linux. Maybe try dual booting it if you're not sure. You can still keep your Windows.
Pretty easy process.
You're gonna kill it.
What I would highly recommend you do is one of two things. First, if you want to actually play around with Linux, install it, get a virtual machine, VMware Workstation. Probably not anymore. It's a bitch to install. VirtualBox is great. Install Linux on there. You could play around with it just as you normally would if you want to play around just in the terminal. WSL is great. But the real critical thing that I think everybody should do if you want to switch to Linux is on your Windows or Mac machine, only use applications that are native Linux applications. So on your Windows or Mac machine, if you're a Photoshop user, install GIMP and see if it's something that you could get familiar with, and you're really going to have to force yourself to try to do it. So switch your workflows to be Linux capable, so when you dive into Linux, you're not just completely trying to completely rewrite everything that you've ever learned how to do. So first, switch to open source applications, play around with Linux in a virtual machine, and then once you're comfortable, then dive in fully. That's generally what I recommend people do.
Later, you might as well kill it now. Test it out, break it, get upset. On Linux, I feel alive at last, at long last. Thank you for watching. Let me just type out my goodbyes.
Yeah, that'll kill the whole system. But yeah, absolutely great video from PewDiePie here. It's amazing that this large of a creator is diving into basically the same space I've been in for quite a while. My channel basically started playing around with Linux computers, and it's really cool to see kind of the reverse of that. A channel that's already so big, getting into it with already a huge, great audience, and kind of driving people to these open source communities. It's great for literally everybody. And I just can't imagine the amount of hours that are going to be burnt as a result of this video of people playing around and tinkering with things. So with all that, I do hope you have a beautiful day. This video will be linked down below, and goodbye.